all of us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Richard. And I do want to emphasize that I very much intend to continue to work with the corporation. You know, of course, I won't be on your board anymore, but I do want to advance the work of the corporation. You know, I'm so pleased that the corporation is moving into expanding its mission. And so my job is to try to help get money to make it happen. And any other, you know, regulatory framework that's needed to as an underpinning for that. So I appreciate the congratulations and looking forward to continuing on. I just want to mention too that yesterday I had to submit to the Speaker of the Assembly my list of preferences for committee assignments. And my first is environmental conservation. So I am cautiously optimistic that I'll get that choice as one of my committees. It's not up to me, but I put that in, and that'll be helpful in advancing these objectives. So thanks again, and I'll be around to help.
Great, glad to hear it. All right, so with that, I'll call the meeting to order. Can I get a motion on the minutes?
So move.
Warren, you got to hit your mic.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Joe, would you like to take care of the financial update?
Yes, at October 31st, our fund balance was a total of 18.3 million, of which 11 million SPAD funds, 4.4 Westchester, and 2.9 Putnam funds. Checks drawn today total $205,336, of which 20,180 are FAD expenditures.
Any questions?
No.
All right, Kevin?
Shut my door.
Okay. Can everybody hear me, first of all, since I'm trying out a new microphone?
Excellent.
It's
It
a
sounds
very
good? All right.
Very good.
Very good.
So far, so good. Okay, so we are looking towards wrapping out a lot of projects to close out the end of the year. Submitted several projects for credit towards New York State DEC. You'll see on the project update sheet, we've updated our total to 604 kilograms, expecting another 20 kilograms within the next week or so as Bob Kapowski up at DEC reviews our documents and the engineers wrap out their certification letters. We are currently in the permitting process for a project to be installed over in Southeast at Sculpino Park. You'll notice on today's agenda, we have the seeker determination on the docket for today. I expect and hope to start that construction in January. If we get if we get lucky, we might be able to get out to bid on that soon. But with an early December executive committee meeting, I don't expect enough time to pass in order to award that. But that's fine. The goal, of course, is going to be to get that in before the park itself would open for recreation use in the spring. I expect, I don't have a hard date for sure from the town of Southeast on that, but I would expect baseball activities, Little League activities to begin pretty close to the beginning of March, if not, if we're lucky, a little bit more lucky, April. So we will, once we have all of our permits in hand, we will schedule with the town of Southeast, make sure we've got ample time. If not, then we'll postpone that construction to later into the year so that we don't affect the recreational use of the area. Was there any questions? No. Okay. I wanted to update you all on an issue that we had down at Mount Kisco. Unfortunately, nothing that we we can do about it. But 2 weeks ago, at Leonard Park and MKC 22 in Leonard Park, unfortunately, a private resident had driven their car into one of our sand filters. This isn't something that, and Corey's kind enough to hold up the picture as proof. The police were notified, the insurance companies were notified. There's no reason, I've been discussing this with our insurance claim office, and there's no reason to believe that this is going to go through us or that's going to be an increase in cost to us. The young lady who drove her car through the filter has been working with Legacy Supply. Her insurance company has been working with Legacy Supply, and we expect to hopefully have that wrapped up soon. Unfortunately, it amounts to about $80,000 in damage because the filter was complete. We just pretty much were down to grass seeding. But this will delay the closure on the project, obviously, because we certainly won't be fronting any of the funding for them to fix the retrofit. And so we're kind of at the mercy of the insurance process for Legacy to get out there and possibly have to reconstruct that portion of the project, unfortunately, because her tires went about a foot deep into the filter, and we had a protective layer at about 6 inches. So I'm expecting pretty close to a full reconstruction of that individual filter, unfortunately. But at this time, there's no action we have, nothing that we can do. I just want to make sure everybody was aware that it was a little bit of a hiccup in that project.
Kevin, what's to prevent a car from driving on the sand filter in the future?
Well, this particular filter is pulled away from the road. It's pulled away from all parking. It's in an area that no cars are authorized to access. So the filters, and yet we still got a car in it. I don't know when or how this young lady found this filter with her vehicle, but she did. The filters that we have that are adjacent to the road, adjacent to parking, have a wooden guardrail to prevent this from happening.
Right.
I don't know if we want to investigate a guardrail on every single one of the filters. I think this particular one was close to the existing tennis courts in the baseball field, if my memory is correct. And nobody has any business having vehicles over there. So I don't know if you guys feel it's necessary. We could start investigating further safety measures to prevent these things from happening. But it feels like a one-off incident, unless somebody decides to, unfortunately, go for another joyride.
Is it visually, Kevin, visually, do you understand you're driving into an area you shouldn't be?
Yes. Yeah, you can't miss it. The signs are posted well by Mount Kisco's Park and Recreation Department saying no authorized vehicles beyond this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, my sense of it is yours, Kevin, and that is that it's a one-off. And if we were to try to implement safety measures that would make this less likely to occur, it would increase project costs. And I don't know whether we want to do that or not. I mean, it's my sense of it is that, you know, the insurance is covering it. Why increase project costs? Yeah, there's going to be some risk involved where we're not going to be able to get insurance if this should recur with some other project, but I don't know, that's just my sense of it.
Well, I understand your concern about increasing project costs, but hey, Corey, can you hold that picture up one more time? You know, when I saw the pictures initially, I'm sitting there saying, well, there's nothing right there that says that's the sand filter. And I was just wondering if we couldn't put up one or two big red signs that said stop sand filter so everybody knows. And, you know, the signage, the cost for a couple of big red signs wouldn't be much if it's not, you know, interfering with the activities on the park.
Well, to that point, Rich, I think that's actually a good suggestion, because what we could do is put up a sign that identifies it as a stormwater retrofit project, and then use that as an education tool to spread more knowledge on what we just did here. And most importantly, please don't drive your car through the middle of the project site. We don't have to go as far as a wood rail across everything. Maybe just a sign with a general map of everything we've put in Leonard Park. Something that could go a long way.
To add to that, I think if to make it an educational experience, you could actually put a plaque up saying this is why it was done, and put East Hudson Watershed Corp's name on it as the entity that did the work. And you might even want to say, this cost X amount of dollars, and this is what the benefit is to the community. But a plaque up there, I think, would be an awesome idea if it works. You can have a bunch of different people going there, and they may wonder why there's no grass on it. That may be the extent of their knowledge. So it would be a good thing to do, I think.
Right.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's not a big increase in project cost. You're right.
Yeah, it's going to be an increase, but it's an increase that we can take even further and have it, solve multiple issues. Because Corey and I have definitely been looking into how can we get useful signage into these retrofits across the entire watershed. So, pinpointing something like this where it's not, it might not really be logical or feasible to put a wood guardrail up, but utilizing something else to hit 2 points I think it's a good idea.
Okay, so if you could look into that.
Yeah.
All right, we have a resolution for a secret determination for Southeast EB 715. Everybody had a chance to take a look at it? And if so, could somebody make a motion?
So move.
We have a second? All right, I'm not hearing.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Nobody wants to jump in and be obnoxious, but I'm happy to do that. So second.
Warren, you're never obnoxious. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right, motion carries. Any opposed? Motion carries. Checks and vouchers. I guess I'll be seeing Linda in a little while.
Yes, I'll be by shortly.
Okay. Other business. Anyone have any other business? Chris? Want to talk about the future of the corporation for?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, one of, I had asked that this meeting occur because I just wanted to leave the corporation with some thoughts, and then can take it from there. And as I was mentioning at the outset, I'd love to be able to work with the corporation at taking it all further. I think it might be helpful if in the course of what we're already doing, and I'm not quite sure, and maybe Christine can help us on how we can do this without violating our agreements on use of funds, but conceptually would be to go around to the municipalities and to say, look, we have now amended the certificate of incorporation and other documents of the corporation to expand the authority. Give us an idea of what the needs are within your municipality. If they happen to have any kind of cost estimates, that's great. Whatever they can share with us would be very helpful. And then see what that looks like. See what portion of it is in the FAD. In my talking with David Warren, he thinks that if there would be any possibility of city funding, it would be in that area rather than outside of the FAD. But at least to get the discussion started. It's going to take time. And my thought is to just get the process underway and see where it takes us. And then I think that with that, we can decide on, the corporation can decide on next steps, can talk to the counties as well. And within the state, that'd be working to see, what state funding might be available. There is the possibility, I think we all hold out hope that in the coming administration, there may be federal funds that could fund infrastructure projects like this. But I think we need to get it started so that people have an idea of what it is. What I found with funding is that you first have to try to identify it. Then you need, as we've seen with the stormwater retrofit programs, you need to have professional consultancy that's going to review it all and try to prioritize it, identify what are the worst problems and so on and so forth. And then with that, you've got a basis for going forward to try to find dollars to match for the needs. So, it's more to try to get the conversation started and for the corporation to take it from there, since I'm not sure how many meetings I have left with the corporation, but not too many.
So I think what you're suggesting is maybe we need to put together a survey so that the responses we get back are consistent across the 18, 19 municipalities. We'll have to discuss how we're going to do that, because this is probably not something New York City is going to want to see us doing with staff funding through the East of Hudson Corporation. But putting a simple survey together shouldn't be a big lift. And sending it out and getting it back and correlating the answers.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, Rich. Yeah.
Okay.
And then from the standpoint of, at the point where we feel that it's defined enough, then the corporation can try to bring in their representatives, their elected representatives in the county and state governments to help build support for it. I mean, that's conceptually, what I was thinking we could do. And I think it's particularly helpful that would be a bipartisan group. And I think that will help the effort.
Okay.
One of the things I had talked, I had gotten a call from Peter Harcum a while ago, and I think this is probably going to be true for any of our state senator assembly folks. But New York City, at some point in time, they were looking, actually. I assume they're still going to need it because they're in pretty much of a hole. But they were going to talking to the state about the possibility of bonding expensed items. And that's not something that normally you're allowed to do. And so Peter had called me up and said, look, if I were to approve something like that, what's the ask? And I said, the ask would be, if they're going to go out and bond expense, that they also fund East of Hudson, or at least fund the, the county, Putnam County and Westchester, the way they had done before with some of the East of Hudson funds. And I would hope that our assembly folks and the Senate folks in our delegation would at least understand that would be something that would be important to us. New York City is, I saw the numbers the other day, the amount of money that they're short on sales taxes is mind-boggling. So that it may be another thing that we could possibly do to make sure that we're funded properly.
Great. Well, let's hope we can see some follow through on that.
Well, everybody just needs to, if and so it happens, or we need to be talking to some of our elected officials up in Albany so that they understand if the city comes in and asks, that that's something that that also gets included. It's a minor amount of money compared to the amount of money they're going to need.
Okay, anyone else? All right, well, hearing no more discussion, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, and thank you all for coming.
Can I just make one other comment? I got a call from George Rodenhausen yesterday.
Yes,
I don't know if anybody else has yet, but George, obviously, he told me he's retiring, and he said we're in good hands with Christine. He told me how wonderful she was and stuff. But I just wanted to, publicly just say thank you to George. He was very instrumental early on in pulling a lot of this together for Westchester, because I think Putnam may have been a little bit ahead of us back in 2010 and 11, but he was a great help. So I just wanted to thank him.
Maybe we should do something formal, more formal as well. I spoke to George a couple of days ago, and we've been together for over 30 years, believe it or not. We were doing the math on this stuff. So it would be great to recognize him maybe in the way of a formal resolution. And basically this whole thing went from a concept. I was talking to him about it when we didn't even exist yet, but in our mind, we thought that this could be such a success, and it has become because of all of you. But we had George at the helm of the ship in the very beginning, and I certainly think it would be a great thing to do something more formal.
Well, maybe we can get a proclamation. We're not going to have a meeting, a big get together and stuff, but maybe we can get a proclamation or a plaque or something like that. I'm sure he needs something else to put on his wall. He did tell me, and I forget the town, but it's up in the other side of the Hudson near Kingston someplace. But he is the head of the Democratic Party up there too, so he's going to end up, kind of staying in politics a little bit, right, although he's out of the legal work.
So on George's behalf, thank you guys. I know that that this is really, really near to his heart, and this has always just really been fit right into the passions that he has for environmental law and environmental issues. So well, that's really kind.
Yeah, Christine, if you could just let him know. I mean, I told him this, but I think from the corporate, just from all of us, if you could just tell him I very much appreciate his guidance and the support that he gave us early on, because we would not be here today without him.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just so you all know, I think George has reached out to most of us. I have had some conversations or emails back and forth with Joanne about pulling something together and doing something. We haven't had much follow-up. Also with Christine about doing something, hopefully someday in the future.
Sure.
So there are things in the works. And
well, he's going to Florida, so he's going to be in the area.
But I like the idea of the proclamation and the plaque.
I think we did something similar when Mike Griffin retired.
I know, but
obviously
I would participate in that. So.
Right.
No, I think that'd be great. Yeah, he had called me too. Just heard from him yesterday, and such a major force in both the establishment and the evolution of the corporation, and we all owe him a great debt of gratitude, for all he's done.
One of the things, Chris, when you're up there in Albany and you're talking about how this program is expanding, maybe you could recognize him in your proceedings up there as well.
I'll be happy to, Vinny. Definitely.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my only other comment.
All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, it's good seeing you all, and thank you all for coming. And
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care.